Being able to take an organization and transform how they compete in the marketplace, specifically by having a differentiating technology that allows them to compete in a way that they could not in the past. That encompasses a lot of what Noodle is about. We're able to employ AI to improve overall employee productivity because we're allowing employees to be able to focus on what's most important. It's a macro change to how the organization operates, how they execute, how they compete. Many companies try to get into AI or ML and they go, well, how do we actually use our existing investment in data and just layer AI and ML on top and then try to see what do we get out of it? And that'll get you only so far. AI has very specific needs. If you look at, for instance, a self-driving car, you'll notice that they have been outfitted with cameras and LiDAR and all these sensors. And why is that? Why couldn't we just take a normal car and then make that an autonomous driving car? And the reason is the information that a human needs to be able to drive a car is very different than what an AI needs. As we were deploying our technology in the enterprise world, one of the things that we were finding is although people felt that they had big data, it was not necessarily the right data that AI needed to be successful. Noodle has always approached everything from an AI-first perspective, really allowing humans to focus on what is most important and surface what are the most critical issues and problems that a human being needs to focus on today. Whether it's on a factory floor or inside a big rig, there are all kinds of wealth of data that's being produced. But again, the data that's being captured is still in the frequency range that would be very useful to a human. If we were trying to tackle this from the viewpoint of AI, what would AI want to do to be able to try to understand component level health across a very, very complex systems of thousands of parts? Many of our customers will have anywhere from 30 to 50,000 sensors in their plant, as well as a dizzying array of thousands of different components, everything from motors to pumps to hydraulics to rollers. It's a very, very complex system. When a defect or a problem occurs, a human then does forensics. And a lot of that sensor data is captured, but it's usually at a frequency that a human being would need to be able to interpret that data to try to then diagnose what is the thing that's gone wrong today that is causing my problem. This is actually a great use case where AI can be applied to actually really help the human engineers very quickly figure out of all of the things that could have gone wrong, what are the most likely scenarios. And AI is really good at being able to take in this huge amount of data in real time and then start being able to correlate what are all of these abnormalities that I'm observing, and then how is that leading to quality. And the engineer can then use their effectively domain knowledge and years of experience to then figure out how to either remediate that problem or compensate for that problem to be able to keep the process running correctly and to have a high quality product, even though there may be a part of the line that is malfunctioning. It's really this idea of how do you get to the smart factory or autonomous factory as it's called to achieve all of the benefits that have been promised by Industry 4.0. How do you take 30 or 50,000 sensor inputs in real time and have AI monitor component level health across the entire line in a very complex way, and at the same time being able to monitor quality? How do you take an AI first approach to really being able to transform an organization, transform the way it operates, it does business, the way that it competes? To solve some of these very high-level metrics and KPIs that organizations wanted to achieve, we needed to get lower and lower down in the stack. And that really meant being on the factory floor. So AI, for the most part, doesn't need to play politics. Like, it doesn't need management. It just needs to be able to understand all of the information at the various levels of the organization, the trade-offs between those, and then it can start trying to figure out what would be the optimal scenario based on this current condition that has happened. So what we did is we built what we call the Enterprise AI Platform, which really goes through the full stack. It starts at the very low level of industrial IoT data and then works up through the stack. So we typically refer that either level 0 or level 1 data to level 2 and level 3, which traditionally is called your manufacturing execution system, up to level 4, which would be your enterprise resource planning. So Noodle is able to actually interface with all of these disparate systems, collect the data in the format that AI needs it, and then also at the frequency that AI needs it, which is most of the time at a much higher frequency than has ever been needed by human beings. So one aspect of Industry 4.0 that we're very focused on has to do with what we call component level health, asset health, maintenance, and overall product quality. We are monitoring everything that's happening on the line and quality, and then we have a real-time AI edge device that's communicating with PLCs to be able to take control actions on the line to be able to bring material back into specifications and be able to do kind of real-time recipe optimization, specifically based on what it is observing downstream. And then you have a complex neural network that has learned a lot of nonlinear relationships to then be able to, in real time, make micro adjustments to the process to ensure that you're being able to reduce the number of defects, keep material intolerant so that there's less scrap, right? There's less rework of the product. Being able to bring AI at the edge allows the AI to actually have real-time context of what is happening and then be able to react in real time to those events. A good example of this is that your airbag in your car doesn't get deployed from some signal that's in the cloud. Because if it did come from the cloud, your airbag would deploy 5 seconds after a crash. It wouldn't be all that useful. And it really gets down to this idea that data is perishable. If you can take action as it's being produced and things are happening, you bring the intelligence down to where it's actually needed. It's not just all of our cutting edge artificial intelligence technologies, but it's also the hardware components that plug into an OT network, our ability to be able to communicate in real time to PLCs, the ability to run AI at the edge with low latencies that can make real-time adjustments in the production facility. It's great that you have this wonderful technology, but how does that actually turn into action in a business? And turn into the right action that actually moves the KPIs that the business cares about? We've realized that you really need the right business context. You need people that really understand the intricacies of each industry and how they work in terms of what are the important metrics and KPIs to be moved. Noodleai's full-stack solution really allows manufacturers to realize all of the benefits promised by Industry 4.0.